The Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "We must accept finite disappointment, but never lose infinite hope." When I think about what it means to be hopeful, I think about those times when a younger me would see 9 o'clock roll around and just hope that my parents wouldn't end the night early without some ice cream or a movie. It was the naive hope of a young boy that something that I wanted to happen would actually happen and happen the way I want it to. I'd ask my mom if I could stay up a little bit longer. She'd give me a look, and I'd say, "So you're telling me there's a chance?" Yes! I wish hope was as simple as wanting some ice cream, but I think Dr. King was on to something far greater. My first time experiencing this finite disappointment was at the age of 13. I'd spent my entire childhood living up north in San Ramon, California. I loved San Ramon. I had my church, I had my friends, I had my family, I had my favorite restaurants. Can't forget about those. But most importantly, it was pretty much where I've always grown up. It was all I knew and I loved it. I couldn't imagine living anywhere else. And then my parents told me that we were moving to Newport Beach in Orange County. My hope for what I thought was a perfect childhood was being ripped out from under my feet. Come on. So I moved to Newport in hopes that moving would be the last of my troubles. But I was terribly wrong. A year later, at the age of 14, my hope was shattered when my consistent knee pain due to playing basketball required me to have double knee surgery. Yeah, double knee surgery. I will admit, my conversations with God were pretty non-existent. But the conversations that I did have with him sounded like, "Come on, God, really? I'm only 14 and I'm having double knee surgery?" Knee surgery wasn't something that I was looking forward to, nor was it my plan. So I went on to having double knee surgery, and if I'm being truly honest, it was one of the darkest times of my life. That first month is a time that I will not forget. I was in a wheelchair because the doctors thought that it would be more beneficial for me to have both my knees done at the same time for a quicker recovery time. And after that 6 weeks in a wheelchair, I was on crutches for another 6 weeks before I fully recovered, or at least I wish I did. Less than a year later, I felt a pop in my knee and realized that the surgeries that I had to fix my knee actually failed. I'd have to have another surgery to repair them. And the day before I was supposed to have this surgery, my other knee popped. I realized that this surgery had failed. So I'd have to have 3 more surgeries in order to get me back up on my feet. Only 14 years old and a total of 5 devastating knee surgeries had me in a wheelchair and on crutches for a total of 7 months. At this point, I was at an all-time low. The surgeries took a huge toll on me physically, mentally, and spiritually. I'd missed over a year and a half of school and basketball. My hopes of playing basketball at a high level was being threatened. My hope of being a normal teenager seemed out of the question. Having a thriving high school experience seemed out of my grasp. But somehow hope did prevail. And as I went into my freshman year of high school, I finished with straight A's and played varsity basketball at arguably one of the best high school basketball programs in Orange County. Yeah, thanks. My knees were holding up, my grades were good, and I was finally feeling like a normal teenager. Then guess what happened? My parents thought it would be a good idea for me to transfer to a different school, Pacifica Christian. Really? Really? Like, I just had, the best freshman year I could think of. And now I'm transferring to a school that I don't even know of. The only thing I knew about this school was that they had a crazy basketball coach. I was thinking, why? Like, really? I hope this works out. All my hope was gone, and instead doubt creeped into my mind. I hope this new school will be as good as my old one. I'd hope I like my new basketball team. I hope I'd make friends here. I hope I stay physically healthy through all of this. I hope that Pacifica will meet my expectations. Man, I really hope Pacifica will meet my expectations. And as I asked those questions, another frequent question that I asked was, where was I putting my hope in? Who was I putting my hope in? But as I prepared for the school year last summer, I realized that although I had lost all my hope, the giver of all hope never left me. The Bible verse that I leaned on heavily was Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. I came into Pacifica 9 months ago, really hoping that God had a plan for me. And it turns out he did. He did have a plan for me. I'd hoped that I loved this school as much as my old one. Turns out I love this place even more. I'd hoped that I liked my basketball team. Now I've made friends and brothers for life. And my coach is one of the biggest role models in my life. Love you, Coach. I'd hope I feel known at this school. Now I have a second family and a second home. I hope that Pacifica would meet my expectations. Turns out, God showed me my expectations were way too low. Throughout this year, I've been involved in the student government, a.k.a. Associated Students, a.k.a. AS. The school play, I'm on there. Growing my musical talents and interests, mentoring 8th graders, and building strong friendships here. Pacifica has helped me to grow into the person that I've been created to be. Now, I'm not just hoping for ice cream and extra time to stay up. To be honest, I hope that I finish my homework so I have more time to sleep. But seriously, I couldn't hope or wish for a better situation. Unlike my younger self, I now put my hope in my God, who is the giver of all hope. So along with a lot of Mr. O'Neill's questions, I'm going to ask you a question. Who are you putting your hope in? I want to thank Mr. O'Neill and Ms. Mellett for helping me with my speech and putting on this amazing event. I want to thank my mom and dad for being there for me. And I want to thank all of you guys for being here, because for you to believe in a place where I go, where I call my second home, is like it really like makes me happy. So thank you for being here. And now please welcome an English teacher that I'm super excited to have next year, Mr. Dobbins.